Terry's mouth. I believe she was inspired by the epistles that we've been reading in for the last number of weeks, that Paul wrote to the various churches under his ministry. And so she has, in the manner of Paul, written a letter to us based on the scripture for today. And she's asked me to read that. And I thank her most heartedly for doing that. Since most of the candidates that we would consider for pulpit supply are in Orlando anyway, there weren't too many left over. So she did try and get a pulpit supply for us, but was unable to come up with anybody. But I think this is a good way to send the message today. So these are the words of Terry. Dear First Christian Church family, when Paul was away from the churches he pastored, he wrote to them. Sometimes he wrote to address problems and disagreements about doctrine among them. Just as often, however, he wrote to share a word of encouragement, hope, and faith. If Paul can preach via letter, why not me? Thanks to Becky for being the instrument through whom this letter is heard. This is exactly how the early churches received Paul's letters. They were read aloud to the congregation as they gathered for worship. As our wider church gathers for our biennial General Assembly, the theme is, Lord, teach us to pray. I, Terry, Karen, and Bill and Sue Ellen Cook are here in Orlando, Florida to represent our church. We ask that you pray for us each day through Wednesday, July 17th, and for all the attendees, that God will give wisdom, grace, and peace as they consider important matters of ministry and justice. In today's text, Paul states that he is specifically praying for the church at Colossae. The greeting that Paul shares is now very commonly used among Christians. Grace to you and peace from God the Father. Paul tells the congregation that he thanks God for them because he has heard of their faith in Jesus Christ and the love they have for all the saints. This love is possible, he says, because they share the hope of the gospel of Jesus Christ. This gospel is bearing fruit and growing in the whole world. Because they are sharing the gospel and sharing love and hope with others, Paul knows that they have truly come to understand the grace of God. He compliments Epaphras, a minister who spent time in Colossae after Paul left. Epaphras continued Paul's work, and Paul is pleased and proud of what they've been doing. Epaphras has made known to us your love in the Spirit, Paul says. Because of this, Paul says, we have not ceased praying for you and asking that you may be filled with the knowledge of God's will in spiritual wisdom and understanding as you bear fruit in every good work. May you be made strong with all the strength that comes from his glorious power, and may you be prepared to endure everything with patience while joyfully giving thanks to the Father. This is like getting a love letter or a report card from your favorite teacher with a big fat A on the top. We know from the letter to the Galatians that Paul could get angry, and he could use his letters to put forth some difficult arguments and advice to the churches when he thought they were missing the mark. Of course, Paul had his own issues and challenges, but it is striking that the letter to the Colossians begins with this joyful note of peace and encouragement. As your pastor, I know what it feels like to share a good word about what the people of God that you've been called to shepherd are doing. On Friday, I traveled to Bloomington to attend the memorial service for Teresa Dollier Parker's husband, Al, who passed away just last Sunday. There were many lay people and ministers whom I know there, many of them known to you, First Christian Church of Downers Grove. The work of this church over the years is well known across our region and even across the country. As I introduced myself to the few I didn't know, I was greeted with these words. Oh, that's right, you're at Downers Grove. That's a great church. When ministers get together, they do share about what their congregations are doing. And if there are issues, they share those things too. How grateful I am that the word I can share about this church is that your faith in Jesus Christ and the love you have for all the saints has never faltered or wavered. The work of this church continues to grow and develop. even as it takes on new shape and energy. The fruit of that ministry of this church is that the fruit that the ministry of this church is bearing, not only here in DuPage County, but quite literally across the world in Belarus, is being spoken of by others who are excited to learn about what God's people are doing. I sat at a table with a retired female minister who is about to move to Robin Run, a disciple retirement home in Indianapolis. We had not met before, but she was definitely not a stranger to others. She asked me a lot of questions about what was happening here. She said she was glad to know that this church was still a vibrant place. Herb Knudsen was at my table, and I reminded him that the church would celebrate its 50th anniversary in 2014. That took him a bit aback, I think. And I told him that we would be planning a celebration. Dwight Bailey was also at my table, and he shared about buddy packs that the Christian church in Princeton, Illinois, prepare each weekend for children who receive free school lunches. These buddy pack meals are often the only food some of the children will have over the weekend. Several social service organizations are working with them, and it has really taken off. All around the table, we express joy at hearing the good news of God's people active in the world, spreading love and hope, just as Jesus would want us to do. Of course, I had to share about the back-to-school fair, and I was excited to see people's eyes widen when I shared how many people have come over the past 3 years. Even as we prepare for this year's fair, I hope that you too are mindful of just how amazing this particular ministry is and how much it means to the families that we serve. It is also a source of inspiration to other congregations and pastors who hear about this ministry and the other ministries of our church. When you hear of something awesome that God is doing in one place, it encourages you to remember that God is able to give us all what we need to do the work that He has called us to do. As I was answering questions from another retired minister, he said to me, "I see the excitement on your face. That's so good to see in a minister." That wasn't just a commentary on me. That was a commentary on you, First Christian. Just as Paul said to the Colossians, people are telling us about what's going on there, and we're so excited. We will keep praying for you so that God will continue to use you. Last week, our message was not to grow weary in well-doing, for as we plant the right seeds, there will be a harvest, and we must get ready for it. Today, I pray that the excitement Paul shared with the Colossians is reinforced by the excitement and joy that I send with you with this letter. The best is yet to come, First Christian. I believe that God will send workers to help us gather the harvest He's given to us. I leave you with the words Paul wrote the Colossians. May you be made strong with all the strength that comes from His glorious power. And may you be filled with the knowledge of God's will and spiritual wisdom and understanding. Grace and peace to you from God our Father, First Christian. I remain your servant minister, grateful for the calling that has brought us together in ministry. The best is yet to come. Let's be praying for our church and one another. Terry Ward, Owens, minister, First Christian Church, Downers Grove.